come with some concerns. There have been questions about his character since his time at the University of Georgia, especially in the period leading up to the draft. I recall that this issue sparked many debates. Additionally, he was recovering from an ACL injury at the time, which affected his draft selection. Pittsburgh decided to pick him, and even with less than satisfactory quarterback play, he managed to put up notable numbers. In 2 of his 3 seasons, he nearly reached 1,000 receiving yards, and in 2023, he surpassed that mark despite inconsistency at quarterback. Therefore, the team chose to trade Pickens rather than pair him with DK Metcalf. I understand Pittsburgh's conservative approach, but personally, I would have kept both Pickens and Metcalf. It's true that managing their personalities might be challenging, but given that you traded for DK, you should have known what you were getting. Pickens was already part of the organization, and you knew his abilities. Currently, Mason Rudolph holds the starting quarterback position, but that's not a certainty. I would have kept both Pickens and Metcalf. I understand that dealing with their personalities can be tricky, but the DK trade was something you were fully aware of. Pickens has been with the organization, and you know his skills. Right now, Mason Rudolph is the starting quarterback, and there are no guarantees that Aaron Rodgers will join the team. Meanwhile, Pickett is in his last contract year. Support them and see how they can perform together in 2025 and perhaps beyond. Regardless of who the quarterback is, it's crucial to have DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, a bolstered offensive line, and one of the best defenses in football. However, the Steelers, who operate in a somewhat outdated manner, and with Mike Tomlin having not won a playoff game in almost a decade, decided to trade Pickens, which is quite revealing. They already had him on the roster, and Tomlin generally gives players a lot of freedom, often seen as an ideal coach. He's dealt with many big names in football. To me, the fact that they received only a 3rd-round pick and a late-round pick in next year's draft is significant. The Steelers were essentially saying, we want to get rid of him. We'll accept a 3rd-round pick. We don't want him on the team anymore. We don't want anything more to do with him, and we're definitely not offering him a contract extension. Dallas team has long needed a second receiver. The depth behind CD Lamb was lacking. It became clear that Dak Prescott needs better options around him. He's not a quarterback who can carry the franchise alone. The Cowboys performed better when, first, they didn't have to pay Dak much, and second, they had an elite offensive line and a strong running game. This was evident with Ezekiel Elliott and that excellent offensive line when Dak was on his rookie contract. With some good options and a solid defense, they now need another weapon. They're willing to take a risk on George Pickens. It may work or it may not. Pickens may be upset about not receiving a contract extension, but he could also be highly motivated, as he's in the final year of his contract. However, with George Pickens being traded by the Steelers, they find themselves in need of a receiver. Reports indicate that the Steelers aren't done making moves at this position. There are signs that they're interested in Roman Wilson, who's in his 2nd year. Though he may be slightly below the ideal size, there is hope for significant improvement from Roman Wilson compared to a more established option. They could also consider adding another receiver via free agency, and perhaps even negotiating for Allen Lazard. There's movement in this direction, especially if Aaron Rodgers ends up in Pittsburgh. There are also rumors surrounding Tyreek Hill, though he comes with his own set of challenges, similar to George Pickens. Another name that has surfaced is Brandon Ayuk. This situation arises from comments made by a significant source who mentioned that the San Francisco 49ers would be willing to trade Brandon Ayuk's contract to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This brings back memories of last offseason when discussions about these players intensified. However, my role is to keep you informed on the latest updates regarding the Niners, and I will continue to do so, regardless of the opinions. The results have been positive, and I genuinely appreciate everyone who continues to follow. Last year, the Steelers showed interest in Ayuk, strongly pursuing either him or Deebo Samuel in an attempt to trade for a 49ers receiver. At that time, the markets for Ayuk and Deebo were significantly more favorable. However, they may still consider the possibility of trading for Ayuk. It seems that Ayuk has a connection with Mike Tomlin, having interacted with him on social media. Of course, Ayuk ended up signing with the Niners, and I believe the Steelers' offer was somewhat low, under $30 million a year. The Patriots' offer surpassed $30 million a year. Ayuk ultimately settled for $30 million a year, which became problematic. He began the season with the Niners in poor form and faced significant difficulties. His production dropped, and then he suffered a knee injury. Before this setback, there was an incident during practice and a disagreement with the coach over inappropriate attire. It's likely that other players wouldn't have made such a mistake. As a result, the expected trade to another team didn't happen. There are signs that the organization may be considering trading the player to get rid of this contract. However, at this point, it doesn't seem like a financially sensible decision for the team. The roster bonuses for April, May, and June were guaranteed on the first day of April, meaning the funds have already been allocated. Could the team be persuaded to trade the player in exchange for a draft pick, or consider this an opportunity to relieve their finances? Perhaps. In that case, they could secure the signing of a player who had been mentioned before, praised by a former offensive lineman as a valuable addition. This player is big, physical, and not afraid of contact, being an effective blocker in running plays. He had a standout performance before signing a $39 million deal with another team last season. Unfortunately, his time there was short, playing only 10 games due to a knee injury. While this scenario seems unlikely, it's a possibility. I also recall a mention of the relevance of that date for the roster bonuses. If he stays with the team, a trade shouldn't happen. However, the team could decide to keep him, and if another organization needs a wide receiver, a trade might be possible in the near future. Again, I consider this possibility remote, but the source of this information is highly respected. Regarding financial matters, today is May 7th. A trade before June 1st would result in a $37 million cap hit, which wouldn't be prudent. However, a trade after that date would result in an $8,300,000 cap hit and $1,500,000 in savings. The team is already dealing with over $80 million in cap hit. They might simply choose to accept this situation, saying, "We're already absorbing all this cap hit, so let's just manage it and open up significant space for next year." The team currently has the second largest cap space in the league. I believe he will stay with the team. It's reasonable to say, well, we're already absorbing all this cap hit, so let's continue this way and we'll have plenty of space for next year. The team currently has the second largest cap space in the league. In the end, my belief is that he will remain with the team. I would be totally surprised and shocked if the team decided to trade him, as it just wouldn't make sense financially with regard to the cap. Before last season, I was a big advocate for him. He improved each year since entering the league, playing with intensity and the right mindset. He's a hardworking blocker. I didn't like how he handled his contract situation, posting on social media in a very self-centered way, creating a lot of unnecessary noise. He started the year with the team after securing $30 million a year, but was having a disastrous performance on the field. He looked out of shape and uninterested, wearing inappropriate training gear. What was he thinking? He's been in the league since 2020 and had that serious knee injury. I hope he can return to the level of excellence he showed in 2023. Recently, the team participated in a golf event, and a photo of him with a bandage on his leg surfaced, showing good development in his right quadriceps. I found this impressive. This suggests there's considerable strength present. Often, after surgery or injury, one of the legs can lose muscle mass and strength due to atrophy, since you can't put weight on it or develop muscles. I went through ankle surgery in 2012 and had to wear a cast and couldn't put weight on it for almost 2 months. Back then, I was in college and had to use a scooter on campus, since crutches weren't practical. Once I got the crutches and cast off, I thought I would walk immediately, but I had to relearn how to walk. It was an amazing experience. Many of you have seen how robust I am in my lower body. Dealing with atrophy was tough. So, noticing the definition in his leg, based on my personal experience, where I had an ankle injury and he had a knee injury, is quite encouraging. I hope this means positive progress as he continues his recovery. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that is sending shockwaves through the NFL, quarterback Trevor Lawrence has officially arrived at the San Francisco 49ers headquarters to finalize a contract that is expected to reshape the team's future. The sight of Lawrence stepping onto the facility grounds in Santa Clara sparked immediate media frenzy and widespread speculation, marking the beginning of what could be a transformative era for the storied franchise. The 49ers, known for their rich history and multiple Super Bowl titles, have been aggressively searching for stability under center in recent seasons. With Jimmy Garoppolo's departure and inconsistent performances from subsequent replacements, the front office has clearly decided to make a bold investment in one of the league's most talked-about young talents. Lawrence, the former #1 overall pick out of Clemson, brings with him a unique combination of poise, athleticism, and leadership that made him a collegiate standout and a foundational player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Though details of the contract have yet to be released publicly, sources close to the organization suggest a long-term deal is in the works, likely making Lawrence one of the highest-paid quarterbacks in the league. His arrival signals a major shift in the 49ers' offensive strategy, with head coach Kyle Shanahan likely to tailor his already innovative system to suit Lawrence's strengths, particularly his deep passing accuracy and ability to extend plays outside the pocket. Fans and analysts alike are already envisioning the possibilities of pairing Lawrence with the 49ers' offensive weapons, including all-pro talents like Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle. The potential for a high-octane offense, combined with the team's traditionally dominant defense, has reinvigorated Super Bowl dreams in the Bay Area. As Lawrence undergoes physicals and meets with team officials, anticipation continues to mount. For the 49ers, this moment represents more than just a new signing. It's a statement of intent. Trevor Lawrence isn't just joining a new team, he's stepping into a legacy. And with the backing of a franchise hungry for its next championship, he may just be the quarterback to deliver it. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.